Hello everyone. Um, it's gonna be a bit of a shorter video today just because I started late, but you know what, that's okay. Nobody really cares anyway at this point. Just wait until they're naturally building and, then it'll be amazing. But for now, let's get started. Okay. Now, as you can see, I didn't do anything without you guys, and that's sort of my promise that I'm aiming to keep. Is that you're going to see the entirety of the build. And I'm not going to be like, well, there's a lot of YouTubers who do this, but I'm going to literally show you everything that I do, and I'll talk about it and ramble on, because that's my shtick. That's going to be what I do. So yeah, this is partially so that I can practice talking more, and partially because, yeah, I don't really like the sound of my own voice. I sound very weird. At any rate, we're just putting bedrock in today. So, I don't know. I started putting this into a playlist so that for those of you who want to be here for the entire time, you can just, find my playlist. If you have no idea what I'm doing, again, the playlist should help because literally this is just episode 2. Okay, so don't even worry about it. Okay, so what we're doing right now is we're still working on making the dungeon floor, or rather, what the dungeon floor is going to be on, because I don't think Bedrock works for a Desert Kingdom's dungeon floor, really. Mind you, Deep Slate's gonna look weird as it is, but it'll look a lot better because the lighting is supposed to be like dark and mysterious for these kinds of things, and yeah, I'm not really going to be yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Now, a lot of the theme and colors that we got going on with Agrabah, I will be taking some of that for the Castle Raken, but, not everything, obviously, because I don't know how to do some of that. But, the concept of a desert kingdom is really cool, so we're going to work with that. The first thing that we're going to build is obviously the castle, and then we'll build the courtyard surrounding the castle, and then the castle walls, and then from there we're going to build the central city that surrounds the kingdom. And then I'm going to expand for a bit with just desert, so that'll be a couple of episodes of boredom just like this. But I think that it'll be cool to show you guys how I build a world and how I see things, because a lot of the time people don't understand what I'm trying to say, so hopefully I'll be able to convey it better when I work on the descriptions with Minecraft vids that work with it. Okay, so yeah, this series is going to take me forever, I will admit it. I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat it. This is going to be probably the longest series. No, it definitely will be the longest series I have ever done of anything. And that's saying something considering I write, like, so much. But no, this is going to be even longer than any of my stories. That's how long this is going to take, is because I really want to get this done. I really want to show you guys what I see and everything. And yeah, I'll be still writing the works, and if you guys want, after I get to a certain point, I can actually read you part of the story on here, depending on if anyone even cares to watch this, because otherwise it really is just me rambling, and I wouldn't have any problems with me reading stories while doing this. So if you guys want me to just read my stories while I'm doing this, I can. That is if anyone even watches, and I don't think anyone will, but, whatever. So like I said before, this is just a bedrock base. This is going to be holding up everything because, well, let's face it, how I already showed you in the last episode, the sand is just gonna fall. Is that a hole over there? Okay, no, just a glitch. That's fine. So yeah, we're gonna be working on this for a while, but that's okay. It's just time to chill and relax. We're not in a rush to build anything, honestly. And this is just gonna be a really chill type of video going on. So I'm gonna be building for about, I want to say 30 more minutes. So we'll see how far we get in 30 minutes today. I might make it a little longer depending on how confident I feel I can get ready for work. Because yeah, I'm just doing these videos in like the 1 hour or hour and a half that I have before I get ready to work. I'm very excited I have a new job and everything, and nobody's calling me in early, no one's yelling at me about needing me every second of the day, and that actually makes me feel very, very good about myself because I feel like I'm actually getting the correct hours that I need to do to function properly, and that's important. So yeah. Also, for those of you guys out there who are the person living in your mother's basement and being harassed by them to get a job, guys, I have not gone 6 months without a job. The most I've ever gone without a job since graduating high school was 1 month, and that was partially because I suck at interviews and everything, and I have a communication error. See, I'm autistic, but you know what? It's fine. Nobody cares and notices. No one even knew I was autistic until graduating high school. So it's like the biggest joke in my story. My life's a joke, honestly. It's a really bad one, but it's got its ups and downs, just like a roller coaster. And this is when you know I'm rambling too much, is when I start talking about my life. I really like the aspect of the void where I get light no matter what time, just because you can still see the sun and moon, and so everything's not like pitch dark. But when we get into certain parts of the build, it will be pitch dark, just because of how much ground we will have made and everything. Now, mind you, bedrock is not going to be the sole base ground, because as I said, this is a dungeon, so we're going to be building caves and mines and everything in here for this story. And as I said, this story is rather traumatizing little tale. Unfortunately, it's like super cute at the beginning. It's really sad and adorable. But later on, as the main character grows up, it gets traumatizing. But I have this stupid thing because of how life is. I believe that you have to earn your happy ending. Okay, it's just something I've always believed in because it just never made sense to me that you would just get it for free. I mean, come on, this isn't a fairy tale story. When I write, I make stories that people can relate to, that actually have some meaning. Now, mind you, all the magic and stuff in this story of Kin will make it so that it's not relatable, it's not a thing. That's when I go and say, if you're looking for the magic, sure, that part's not relatable. If you're looking for how people are acting for actual personalities, unfortunately, that is a relatable thing. And that's where we're going to be going with any and all of my stories, honestly, is I go for the personalities. I can throw in as much magic and other stuff as I want. I could have freaking Arceus show up in my story and you would still think it was the most realistic thing ever just because of how everyone reacts to everything. So, yeah. Don't even worry about that. Like, magic is an aspect, sure, but it's not what makes the story believable or real. I mean, take a look at Encanto from Disney. That story, Mirabelle, look, Okay, I'll admit it, growing up, I used to think that I connected with Aurora, but only because, like, certain features and traits were similar, and I really liked singing and animals and stuff, and yeah, but after watching Encanto, I looked at it again and I realized I may look like Aurora, but I definitely resonate with Mirabelle because oh my gosh, that right there is my story. Like, no, I can't say that I have that many family living in the same house. I can't say that I even have an older sister or anything like that, but I can say that feeling like somebody felt like I didn't belong because I didn't have the same special skills as somebody else. Yeah, but whatever. Anyway, we finally finished this part of the bedrock, and we still have plenty of time, so now we get to start on the actual building. Okay, now we're going to use a mixture of cracked deep slate bricks with deep slate bricks. Okay, now the cracked ones are mostly going to be used for like certain cells and floors. Ah, shoot. I hate when that happens. Okay, so note, when removing torches, you have to be careful about where you aim. Got it, peoples? Otherwise, you risk breaking a hole. This is going to be a hiccup that we will have throughout the entire series, is that apparently Minecraft has me as stronger than, well, very strong actually. Okay? Now, if you can remember the first episode, we had this cute little thing here to tell me where the center block was for this. This is going to be very helpful because this tells me exactly where the center line is for when I'm building up. Okay? Now, I'm first going to use this to build up, and figure out how tall I want this to be. Now, the dungeon is going to be rather big, but only because next to the dungeon is actually a treasure room hidden away and secret escapes and all that nonsense, because there's going to be secret tunnels in this castle, because why not, But let's double check how tall that is first so that I don't end up annoying myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, let's leave it at 15. Okay, so 15 blocks tall dungeon roof. There we go. Okay, now the reason for this is so that one, when we actually set down the real floor of the dungeon, we're going to want to be able to walk around and stuff. And dungeons, they tend to be one of two things. You could have the high corridors, or you could have the small rooms, or even a combination of both. We're going for the combination thing. And it's going to be like a type of catacomb dungeons. But that's only because, what kind of dungeons would it be if it didn't have a secret royal exit? Because, let's face it, we all love that stupid thing where there was a secret entrance hidden in the dungeon, or a secret exit. Okay? Now, I know you guys are probably wondering why I'm no longer keeping my measuring sticks up, or measuring lights, and that's because what we're going to do is we're going to cover this whole thing now with the deep slate bricks. Okay, and like I said, we're going to scatter in some cracked ones here and there, but for the most part, this is going to be the normal deep slate bricks. This is where it starts to get dark in our build, but you know what, that's okay. Okay? And that is why I chose creative mode. Is so that I can specifically just build, and then when I fall off, I know I'm done. And in this particular case, it's okay if it goes up a little more, like that. That's honestly perfectly fine. because as I said, we are going to be building this for a long time. Okay? And yeah, you're here for it if you are here. um, I will, like, when we get up to the sunnier parts of the build, it's going to look way better. But for now, we're just building the basics of it. Okay? And I know that not a lot of people actually, like, build this kind of way. But, or at least they don't show how much work is going into this. But honestly, I felt like we needed to do this because whenever I watch a YouTuber, I like to see it from the beginning to see how their thoughts go into building things. And I figure, well, maybe somebody else likes to see that too. And there's not a lot of people who build into all this. So you'll hear my musings, you'll hear me muttering to myself, and honestly, that's how it should be for some of this. And this works as a nice background noise, or just having your computer running if you need it to, type deal. So yeah. And once more, I nearly fell into the void, but honestly, that's fine. So, as you're probably wondering why I'm leaving those up, again, I am having those there just because we're going to be building the walls and everything, but also because they're going to do something for me later that isn't quite so obvious. Okay, now, something that I need to establish is where the stairs are going to be for this, because that is actually going to be very, very important for how to get in and out of a dungeon. Now, I could be annoying and say that they magically teleport prisoners in so that there is no escape, but honestly, that's just dumb. Okay? I don't care if it's a magical kingdom, which is what I'm building. It doesn't make sense to only have to have magic to get in. Part of the reasoning is because even though I have a whole flippin' magical kingdom where everyone has a magic ability, it doesn't mean that they all have the same magic ability. Everyone in the Frost Kingdom is immune to being frozen. Yeah, so what? Everyone in the Southern Point is immune to being burnt. Got it. But they also have their own personal magical abilities. Okay? And that is where we're going with this. Now, I will build the stairs first after I have established the floor. Like I said, this is just so that I know where the floor is and how big it's going to be. Now we're going to be once more boring ourselves with building this up, but it's going to be a little faster because I'm not going to take my sweet time doing it. Well, I am going to take my sweet time doing it, but not in the same way that you think. Now, soon there's going to be hiccups in this as well, and that's what you guys are going to be looking for, is when I make those little hiccups in my floor making, that's actually going to be part of where the cracked deep slate goes. Like, see right there? These hiccups are going to tell me where the cracked deep slate is actually going to go, and that's something that I use to build this better, so that it actually looks like a real dungeon floor. Okay? Now, another build that I'm planning on doing is a Hogwarts build, but I'm not going to be doing that right away, because obviously I want to work on Kin for a bit. And this is actually really cool that I get to work on this at all and can build this like this, because I just love the idea that I can build my stories and show you guys all this hard work that I work with. I know that a lot of people aren't going to understand it or even want to hear about it at first, and you know what? That's okay. That's how life works. But there are some who want to see this, who want to hear it, and that's really cool. Okay, so as you can see, I have a bunch of hiccups in my build, and like I said, that's going to be perfect because that's natural building for you. That's how it goes, and that's where those deep slate cracked blocks are going to be showing up. They're not going to be jutted out like right here, but those are now indicators as to where they will be going. Oh, I'm too close. That's why I'm doing that. Whoops. So, there we go. A couple of hiccups there, but for the most part, there. Okay. Whoops, skipped a block, but whatever. Again, deep slate cracked. Yay. There we go. Okay. There we go. That's better. See, I'm starting to get into it, and we're going to make pretty good progress today, it looks like, now that I'm no longer having to count or anything right now. So the floor's already almost done, I think. Let me take a quick look. Yeah, that's actually, yeah. Okay, then. So we got this going on here, and it's going to look fabulous. It's going to be amazing. Well, I know that it doesn't look like much now. It's just a bunch of blocks flying in the sky. But this is just going to be the dungeon. The actual palace itself is going to be fabulous when I finally get to that area. So I'm very excited about that. Now the walls themselves are also going to be this deep slate stone, but I'm going to be the cracked part. Once we get up to that surface line, it's actually going to change as to like what stone it is, because it's going to be very jarring how it goes from dark to light, but that's honestly because underground stonework is usually hidden away, and so it's kept darker than the stonework above when working in types of builds like this. And I think that this is true for real life too, but don't quote me, I'm not an actual professional architect or anything. Now, I know a lot of you are probably all like, why is there no Minecraft sounds? And the reason being is because when I play, I usually don't have the Minecraft sounds playing with me. I just, just don't want to hear it all the time. I mean, I love the music, don't get me wrong, but I'm unfortunately prone to migraines. So even as I'm building this, I'm actually dealing with another migraine right now. So it's, yeah. But it's okay. This is normal, and this is what we gotta work with. Okay? Now, it's coming along really nicely. I'm actually really happy with this right now. Okay? Whoops, forgot a block. That one. Okay. Now back it up. There we go. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. Scoot back a little, and we just keep on going with this. Okay. So, as you can see, more and more of the blocks are getting jutted up, but again, that's perfectly fine because the cracked deep slate is going to be where those indicators are. And I call them indicators because they are telling me where the flaws in the build are going to be, and honestly, to make a build more realistic, it's good to have flaws in it. Especially when you're working on a floor or a wall, you don't want it to be perfect. I know that a lot of people go for the perfect build, but in all honesty, perfection is imperfect, and vice versa. There's no such thing as perfection, if you want to be honest with yourself. It's part of what makes people so great, it's part of what makes anything so great. You just gotta accept it. And don't worry about the holes in the floor too. Those will also be filled with the cracked deep slate. Now I've got about 20 more minutes of building before I shut this off and let it get uploaded onto the web, so you guys can have fun with this later. But you know what? We've made a lot of progress today, and I'm actually really happy because not only did we finish the baseline for the floor, we are now building the actual floor for this dungeon, and the dungeon's not going to be the best thing in the world. That's obvious. The dungeon should never be the best thing in your world. If it is, then we should worry about what kind of world you're building, honestly, and wonder about why you thought that your dungeon should be your centerpiece. Or maybe that is the point of your build, is the whole dungeon and that was it. But I'm going for an entire world. I'm building like oceans and everything in this. Now, as you can see here for the last bit here, I'm scattering the blocks myself, and that's not my favorite thing to do, but sometimes it's just necessary because of what we're working with. Okay? I'm trying not to make it look so forced, but you know, sometimes you just don't got much choice. Okay, now we get to work with the cracked deep slate bricks. First off, we're going to go around and fill all the holes. We'll come back for the jutted up bricks later, but first I want to get all this set up. Now, as you can see, because we have so much of the ground covered up already, it's going to get darker on our build. And again, I put it on peaceful mode, so we're not too worried about that because it's not going to have anything spawn and try to attack us while we're doing this. We're not going to end up with a bunch of stuff that we shouldn't have here. One of the interesting things that I realized while I was building this is that I haven't talked about what properties the nether bricks can bring in to this world, and the reason for that is because I didn't really give it much thought, but when I'm working with nether bricks, I don't really see the castle or southern point at all in it. I mean, the red is a great thing, and everyone thinks, oh, that's like a hellish theme and everything, but honestly, if I'm going to use the nether bricks and everything, I'm going to be using it to make an internal fire type deal. You know, like fires that won't go out. So that's really what I'm saving those types of things for. And then there's also like one of the things is that my characters have to deal with all sorts of crap going on, and they go to 6 different kingdoms, so I didn't really come up with a nether based kingdom, so I don't need to use the nether bricks. If I find a build that I really want to use the nether bricks in, like, I will say it, but for the most part, I don't need it. I don't need to have that kind of stuff in my dungeon. It's not necessary for it, no matter what dungeon I'm using at the moment. Okay. Sorry, sound disturbance on my end, folks. I have no idea what that was, but we're back. And as I was saying, I don't really need to have nether stuff in my build at the moment. Like, if I find something that I really, really want, like, yes, I will use lava, but it's not going to be a main point of Southern Point. Southern Point is supposed to be an oasis type kingdom in the middle of the desert, and the Frost Kingdom, which is its counterpart, is basically a similar thing. It's a hidden paradise in the middle of a tough biome type deal is what I'm going for with it. And that's going to make it look all the better when I actually get to that stuff. Mind you, nether brick is a really cool element, but I don't need it at the moment. So if I think about, I suppose if I really don't want to use deep slate a whole lot, I'll use it for the Chaos Kingdom, but that's such a long ways away. Because the Chaos Kingdom is like near the top of the map for this world, so to speak. So what's going to happen is that's going to be one of the last few kingdoms that I build. First, it's going to be Southern Point right here because this is the bottom of the map. It's just the bottom of the map. I could make up something to be past this, but really I just want this to be the bottom of the map. And yes, for those of you who are curious, I will be making a map and we will be finding out, like, we will be making different things and stuff with a map. I'll even have a map wall here and there just to keep you guys aware of what's going on. No, I'm not very good at commands or anything, so I won't be teleporting all over the joint. But that's okay, honestly. It brings it to more realism with how I work. Now, mind you, my husband is better at knowing the commands and codes and stuff, but I don't need to. I'm not going to bug him for that kind of stuff because, again, that's what he does. He's good with that. I am not. Now, I think I've gotten just about all the holes in this build. Let's take a look. Oh, I missed this one here. Wrong placement. There we go. Now let's take a look at that real quick. That actually looks really cool. Unfortunately, I can't leave it like this messy. Oh, there's one more. Now, the reason I can't leave it this messy is because it's supposed to be an active dungeon. Mind you, they don't use it throughout the series. You don't even hear mention of it, really. It's just like something that most castles would have, is some sort of punishment or dungeon or something. Now, I'm not going to worry about the wall just yet. I want to get the floor finished. So, you're probably wondering what I meant when I said these were going to be stone markers. And the reason being is because I'm going to just simply break at them and replace what's under them with the cracked deep slate bricks. And that's going to, again, add to the effect here that this is a really old dungeon, that this castle is really old and everything. I'm going to come back for the walls and I'll show you what's up with them. Because, again, I'm using the imperfections and I will be using them to make this perfect. Because that's how I think of it as. Okay, so this is, again, going to be time consuming, but you know what? That's okay. That's how this works. And that's apparently why you're on my channel looking at my videos, because let's face it, I never once made short videos. I only make long videos. I think my drawing videos are my shortest videos, and even then, like, I don't speed up things very well. I don't edit very well. I just do it. I just show you the whole messy process and everything, and if you're one of my 9 subscribers, you're here for that, man. You're here for that. Okay? Now, after we get the walls all set up, then we're going to work on the roof, obviously. And we're going to build the outer structure before we work on the inner structure, okay? Because I want to know how big it's going to look. I want to see how it's going to turn out. And then we can worry about, like, what's it going to look like on the inside here. Like, the floor is important. Yeah, that's part of why we're doing this. But also, it's just helpful. And yeah, this is going to be me zigzagging again for a long time. And this is where it gets long again. But hey, you've seen progress. You actually saw progress today. Okay, so don't be upset and actually think about that, because you saw this build go from bedrock to deep slate rock. And this is, honestly, I don't know how the developers build with their fancy tools and stuff. I am working on a really poor laptop here and just building on it. And being grateful that I'm not having any lag issues right now. So that's where I'm at, and honestly, that's how the game honestly is probably meant to be played sometimes, is just hoping that things don't lag. That's how most games are, in my opinion. I got about 10 more minutes of building, it looks like, but you know what? It's another beautiful sunrise right here in Minecraftia, and we're gonna get this going, okay? So, yeah. This will take a while just because of how many times I had that error where I accidentally stacked blocks on top of each other. But again, that's going to actually add to the effect that this castle is real, and the mistakes in the bricks are actually really, really cool to look at. And it helps out that I'm using the same brick type yeah, for this, because it matches into each other. Like, see here? It looks really cool together. And again, no, I'm not doing any modded stuff, so yeah, no. When I do, if I ever do get into redstone, I am going to be super slow on it and have to look up things for it. But you know what? That's honestly probably what's going to be making it worth it. Is that I will walk you guys through the whole build, and you guys will see it step by step in, yeah. Like, some YouTubers you have to stop and actually re-watch the thing. Because of how slow I go, you might not have to stop. Not to mention with how much I ramble. Looking at the deep slate bricks, it actually looks like it would be great roof tiles for a build, if you ever thought about that. But that's not where we're going right now, so yeah. I'm very excited to get to the surface of Kin here, because that's going to be really a super cool environment, is building an oasis. But again, got to start from the bottom up, otherwise you're going to fall through the sand. And so that's where we're going with this, is that okay. So once we're done with this, I'll take an aerial view again to show you where we're at before I log off. Even if I don't get it done today, I'll show you that. That way you guys see the difference in what we've done, and you guys can actually get an idea, because, hey, again, you guys just saw this go from bedrock to deep slate, and that, I think that's actually really cool to see. Because you were here for the whole part, you know that I didn't use any fancy editing software or whatever to make this go faster or anything like that. You've been with me this whole time, and you guys are going to be with me this whole time, seeing this build come from nothing to everything. And I know that it doesn't sound or look like it's going to be much yet, but just wait, because like I said, I'm going to just keep updating the world as it goes. I'm not going to use any mods or anything, so whatever the developers throw in, we're going to use it for our world of Kin. The world of Kin is going to use it, and it's going to be fabulous. And the sooner we all acknowledge that, the better off we will be. Go. There we go. Okay. Now, a lot of my characters for Kin are easy to find the basis for if you know what you're looking at, but a lot of people won't be, unfortunately. And while that does make me a little sad, that at the same time makes me a little proud, because it means that I really did just take an idea and shift it over to its own original thing eventually, which is what I was going for here. I will admit, a lot of my characters when I work, they have a base. There was someone or something that they were based off of originally. I am not very good at making an original character. I can shift a character around enough that it's not who they once were, and then from there they take on their own life and become someone else. But that will be entirely based on how we see it when we go through it. Like, when you read Kin, when I eventually do get it into story mode, it's not going to be something that's recognizable at all. The story is 100% my own. That much I admit. The characters themselves, though, they were based off of something, and then they felt wrong being what they used to be, and they gained their own life. That is actually one of the best parts about writing a story, even if it's just a fan fiction, is seeing the characters gain their own life and seeing them become who they feel like they should have been in the story. And like I said in the last episode, the 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 main character's uncle was originally going to be a villain for the story, but he later didn't feel right as a villain. And now he's also a protagonist. He's like that crazy sidekick that just helps you out in the game, or that crazy scientist, more accurately, who builds you something or does something to you to get you to what you need to be. And that's the role that he fit in so well, even though he originally was based off of Dr. Robotnik. I'm not gonna lie. The uncle was heavily based off of Dr. Robotnik. Like, he was supposed to be a narcissist, he was supposed to be a jerk. Seeing what he became instead, I'm actually quite proud of him and how he's turned out. Alright, we got the floor done, guys. Oh, wait, block over here. But yeah, no, I'm really quite happy with it because he turned into a rather caring individual and is not a narcissist anymore. Missed those. Okay. And last 2 blocks, the floor is done. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, that's actually nice. You can see where the cracks are in the thing. Yeah, but at the same time, it looks more natural. Now, excuse me. Next thing that we're going to work on now is the wall. Now, as you can see here, this pillar here is going to tell me how big the wall's got to be. It's 15 blocks tall until the dungeon roof, and that's going to be fine. Now, mind you, that's not accurate anymore because that was 15 blocks from the bedrock, which is perfectly fine. It's still workable. It's not like I'm trying to measure a door big enough for that. And no, for the person who wants to know, I am not putting in a another portal. Now, we're going to real quick go ahead and start trying to build the wall. Okay. Go. And remember what I said about those little mistakes in the wall? This is where we get to show you what's up with that. I get to put in cracked deep slate on either side of those, and that's actually going to make it a lot more realistic. And I'm going to do that for the rest of this here. I'm not going to do that for central pillar. I'm going to like scatter up those ones so that it's not so obvious that this was the center pillar when you get inside. So yeah, sometimes I'll do it, sometimes I won't. Yeah. So unfortunately, I'm literally down to my last minute of this for now, but that's okay, because we made a lot of progress today in just a short amount of time. Today I think was like 45 to an hour long video? That's pretty good, considering. And we not only covered up all of the bedrock, but we finished up the floor and we got a good start on the wall. And I know that a lot of you guys are going to be like, what do you mean a good start? But I'm telling you, this is a pretty darn good start. We have an idea, we have a concept, and this is just the outer wall. Wait until we get to wait until we finish the outer walls, then we're going to build the individual cells and everything. We'll build like a torture room and stuff, because let's face it, old castles used to have a torture room. It's one of our favorite things to hear about when we read a book or when we watch a stupid cartoon about them. Okay, now, in the meantime, I will be seeing you guys later, because right now I gotta get ready for work. Okay, so see you later, gamer knights. Bye.